The Cowboys are heading into their preseason finale against the Falcons, and all eyes are on who's going to take the snaps under center. As expected, Joe Milton is the name at the top of the list. It looks like he'll be the starting quarterback again, giving the team another look at whether he can finally put together a consistent performance. So far, the preseason hasn't exactly been kind to Milton. His first two games were shaky at best. Against the Rams, he completed 58.6% of his passes, and then it dropped to 50% against the Ravens. There's been a slight uptick in yards per attempt, which is encouraging, but the touchdowns have vanished. That one touchdown he did manage to toss seems like a distant memory now, and the deep ball issues persist, including another costly interception. The Cowboys need to see more from Milton, and not just incremental improvements. They need to see the kind of play that inspires confidence that he could be a legitimate option for the regular season. How he performs in this matchup could influence whether the team sticks with him, leans more on Greer, or decides they need to explore other options at quarterback. The preseason is supposed to be a testing ground, and right now, Milton's experience has been inconsistent, at times frustrating, and certainly not reassuring. Fans and analysts alike are watching closely, wondering if he can finally put all the pieces together and give a team something to feel confident about. It's not just about completing passes, it's about decision-making, poise, and the ability to execute under pressure. Moving on to the running back situation, Jaden Blue is poised to get some significant reps. After missing the first two preseason games due to injury, this is a key opportunity for him to show what he can do. The big question is how much work he'll actually see. Will the coaching staff limit him to just a handful of carries to ease him back in, or will he be featured more prominently to see how he handles a larger workload? The other backs, including Maffa, Deuce, Malik Davis, and potentially Miles Sanders, will likely share touches, so it's a matter of balancing player development with a need to evaluate talent. Jaden Blue's fifth-round draft status gives him a leg up. He's explosive and dynamic, which makes him a likely lock for the roster. But Sanders is in a more precarious position. Despite some guaranteed money, it's essentially at the veteran minimum, so performance matters a lot more. Sanders' performance in previous preseason action wasn't great, 7 carries for 15 yards, and his vision on the field has been inconsistent. If he can't step up in this game, he might find himself fighting just to stay on the team. These games matter in ways that go beyond the scoreboard. They're about roster positioning and proving that you belong at the next level. At wide receiver, Ryan Fenoy is someone to keep an eye on. His opportunities have been limited by the quarterback play, but he's shown the ability to get open and generate separation. In a perfect world, he could have had 5 or 6 catches in limited action, easily surpassing 100 yards. The Cowboys have some roster spots up for grabs, especially with Mingo starting the season on injured reserve. That means players like Lamb, Pickens, Tolbert, and Turpin are essentially guaranteed to make the roster, but there might only be room for 2 more among Brooks, Fenoy, and Tanholden. Given the pecking order and the limited snaps Holden has received, it seems like Fenoy has a better shot to make the final cut, though preseason performance could shift those odds. Every catch, every yard, every moment in the slot or out wide counts, and players like Fenoy are racing against the clock to prove they belong. On the tight end front, Princeton Fant has drawn some attention for his versatility. He's a hybrid player who can block and catch, and his physicality was praised after the second preseason game. The Cowboys will be looking to see if he can continue to make plays and whether he can solidify a role as a potential 4th tight end on the roster. His ability to contribute in multiple areas is exactly what the coaching staff values in players on the bubble. It's about maximizing the skill set you bring to the field and showing that you can impact the game in more than one way. Maisie Smith is another player under scrutiny. A third-year, first-round pick, expectations are high. And so far, the preseason has been underwhelming. He has shown flashes, but the consistency hasn't been there. The Cowboys need to see him make plays, create impact, and not be the last man off the line each snap. The team has to balance giving him the right opportunities while also expecting him to produce on his own. His development is critical, not just for his own career, but for the depth and future of the defensive front. Fans are watching closely, hoping he can step up and prove the hype wasn't misplaced. On the edge, players like Perry Winfrey and James Houston are fighting for the roster spots. Winfrey has shown some ability to disrupt plays, create penetration, and get pressure on quarterbacks. Even though his stats don't jump off the page, Houston has also made a solid case for himself, showing flashes of dominance in limited preseason action. Tyrus has contributed as well with tackles and quarterback hits, though run defense remains a concern. These battles are some of the most intense in preseason football because the margins are razor-thin and the competition is fierce. Every snap is an audition, and these players know that a single big play or a costly mistake can be the difference between making the roster and getting cut. Linebacker play has also been a bright spot. Shemar James has shown promise, recording 12 tackles in limited action with 8 of them solo. His contributions go beyond just being in the right place at the right time. He's making plays on his own and showing the instincts necessary to succeed at the next level. There are still areas for improvement, particularly in coverage, but the foundation is solid. The coaching staff will be looking for continued growth and impact, as the linebacker core is a critical component of the team's defensive scheme. Finally, at cornerback, players like Kim Hall and Zion Childress are vying for roles. Hall has been taking reps with the first team in nickel packages, and his development could be key for the team's depth in the secondary. Injuries and roster needs will influence how these battles play out, but Hall's ability to make plays and contribute consistently will determine if he earns a spot. These are the kinds of matchups that could define a player's career trajectory, as the difference between making the active roster and being left off can hinge on performance in a single game or even a single series. Meanwhile, the running back room is a hot topic, with Jaden Blue finally getting his chance after missing the first 2 games due to injury. He's fast, explosive, and has the kind of playmaking ability that makes defenses nervous. The big question is workload. Will he see a full complement of snaps to demonstrate his ability to handle a substantial load, or will the coaching staff ease him in with limited touches? In any case, Blue's presence adds a dynamic element to the Cowboys' backfield. He's not just a runner who can pick up yards. He's a player who can change the trajectory of a game with a single play. The contrast between him and veterans like Malik Davis or Miles Sanders highlights the balance the Cowboys are trying to strike between youth and experience. Sanders, despite being in the league, is still fighting to prove he can be more than a role player. His performance in previous games has been underwhelming, and the preseason finale represents a last critical chance to make an impression. Every yard counts. Every decision in the backfield is noted, and the coaching staff will be evaluating not just talent, but readiness, vision, and decisiveness. Wide receivers are another group under the microscope. Ryan Fenoy has caught the eye of coaches with his ability to find openings and create separation, even when the quarterback hasn't consistently delivered the ball to him. In a perfect scenario, he could have easily had multiple catches in each game, pushing him past 100 yards in limited action. With Mingo starting the season on injured reserve, there are openings, but competition is fierce. Players like Lamb, Pickens, Tolbert, and Turpin are likely locks, leaving just a couple of spots for others to compete for. Fenoy, Brooks, and Tanholden are battling it out, and every snap, every route, every contested catch could determine who makes the roster. These battles exemplify the high-stakes environment of preseason football, where a single highlight or a costly mistake can define a player's future. The pressure to perform is constant, and for young receivers, every play is a chance to make a statement. On the tight end front, Princeton Fant is a player to watch closely. He's a hybrid, capable of both blocking and catching, and his physicality was praised after the second preseason game. The Cowboys will be looking to see if he can continue to make plays and whether he can solidify a role as a potential 4th tight end on the roster. His ability to contribute in multiple areas is exactly what the coaching staff values in players on the bubble. It's about maximizing the skill set you bring to the field and showing that you can impact the game in more than one way. Maisie Smith is another player under scrutiny. A third-year, first-round pick, expectations are high, and so far, the preseason has been underwhelming. He has shown flashes, but the consistency hasn't been there. The Cowboys need to see him make plays, create impact, and not be the last man off the line each snap. The team has to balance giving him the right opportunities while also expecting him to produce on his own. His development is critical, not just for his own career, but for the depth and future of the defensive front. Fans are watching closely, hoping he can step up and prove the hype wasn't misplaced. On the edge,